Once again, I just want to say welcome to Zillow Academy. Today we're going to be talking about ratings and reviews. People's opinions matter. This is going to be a great chance for you to prove your reputation and your brand to future prospects and potential clients. I'm going to introduce myself one more time. My name is Brad Anderson. I'm the outreach manager nationally for Zillow, and I'm also the director of Zillow Academy here. What we're going to cover today is one of the most important things I think right now is called crowd sourcing. It's kind of the consumer's opinion that's making a difference. And so I guess the question I would ask you before I really dive in deep into ratings and reviews and how they work, we are going to cover a lot of content today, so I'm going to kind of go quickly, but I want to make sure you grasp everything I'm sharing. So when a consumer goes somewhere on the web, for example, and let's go ahead and Adam, since you were so kind, go ahead and give me your area. What's the area of the country that you're in or that you're calling in on today's webinar? I want to type that in here into Google Maps and just kind of give an example of how these things actually work. If you could just type that into the questions box, just give me a city or a state or anything like that. I'll go ahead and do a nice little demonstration showing you how this works. So in your Pacific Palisades, Pacific Palisades. By the way, if you folks have any sellers that are leaving your area and buying in Pacific Palisades, please feel free to contact Adam Katz. I'm sure he'll be happy to pay you a referral fee if he could represent your sellers as his buyers in his area. So what happens here, folks, is if I'm searching for anything in this area, if I decide to get directions or if I decide to search for, let's say I want to go down and visit Adam today, and I'm going to say, find me steakhouses, right? Because this is what people are searching for on the internet. Find me the steakhouses in Pacific Palisades of LA, and look what happens. It goes in immediately. If you can see the left side of my screen, folks, look what it does. It says number A. It's going to give me the mapping. So A is right here, right on the coast. Beautiful beach right there. I'd love to go have the lunch there. But here's the question I have for you. Would you take somebody's opinion and make a buying or selling decision based on what somebody else said? Now, keep in mind, you don't know this person. Here are 646 people. I guarantee you do not know all of them. And they have left 646 reviews on the Boa Steakhouse. Here's Roy's paid ads. See, these are ads. They're yellow. Lone Star Steakhouse, Hillstone, Ches J Restaurant. Now, before I ask Adam really which one is the best, because third-party referrals are important. People we know, trust, and love if they give us an opinion. But face it, folks, a lot of people travel, don't know people in the area. So would I make a buying decision based on these 646 reviews? That's too many for me to read. 260, 455. I would probably take a look at some of these reviews and decide if I'm going to go to Boa, Hillstone, or Ches, because most people aren't going to take time to scroll. My point is, people do make buying decisions based on what other people have to say that they don't even know. So if I did go in and view some of these places, now let me ask Adam. Adam, is one of these three places one of the best three steakhouses in your area? Would you recommend Boa, Hillstone, Ches, or the Galley? Let's see what Adam says. But my point is this, folks. People make buying decisions based on what you have to say. What's the last thing you said about your worst or best customer experience? He says Hillstone, number 2. Hillstone's got 260 reviews. Spinach dip, upscale restaurant, French dip, pork rib prime. Have been on the strict budget lately and not spending much money. So I could go in and read these reviews, but Adam is telling me Hillstone. So because I have now read some things on the internet and I have somebody I know and trust's opinion, this is the place that I'll be eating lunch today. There's other places. You can go to Yelp, folks. Everybody's heard of Yelp. Yelp has some great reviews, but here's the thing. Will you make a buying decision based on what somebody has to say that you don't even know or will never meet? Absolutely. It's happening thousands of times every day all over the web for all sorts of products, tools, services, and now even real estate. Here's the other thing. Here's another site. This is Yelp. Here's another one called ratings.net. And these folks, they rate everything. I'm not just talking about restaurant and services. You could buy a coffee mug. You could rate your Etch-a-Sketch or a movie. Speaking of movies, Rotten Tomatoes, that's how they've gotten their fame on the internet. People are rating the different movies. Priceline is another great example. You can search anything: flights, hotels, cars, vacations, cruises, and you can read what other people have to say. It's called crowd sourcing. Crowd sourcing is where people can give their opinion, and you can take that opinion and make your decisions based on what other people have to say. Now there's one. I'm going to go ahead and kill these out. You've heard of them all: Rotten Tomatoes, ratings.net. You've heard of Yelp. There's hundreds of others. Google has them. So what about Zillow? How does Zillow work? So it's one thing to rate a restaurant. It's another thing to rate a service. It's another thing to rate a place or a hotel. But what about a real estate experience? Folks, we have found this to be huge. Did you know that Zillow right now has over 170,000 local reviews on industry professionals all over our site? So, for example, if I were to go in here and search an area, 21045, and I think she might even be on the call today, it's going to bring me to a specific property or a specific area, right? And in that area, I'm going to see reviews. So for this example here, if I do this zip code or I search a property, let's see what happens here when I search this. 21045. It's just a zip code search. Now, folks, people are searching our site for all kinds of different areas and communities and neighborhoods, etc. But when somebody comes to Zillow.com and starts searching for real estate, they start looking around. They're finding the properties they're interested based on either a map search or a filtered criteria search. So they're looking for specifics, maybe just ones that have special offers, or maybe they're just looking for single family homes. Whatever the case may be, they're doing searches. About 63 homes a second are viewed via our mobile application and a mobile device. But when they find the property, they end up on that specific property. They're doing what? They're looking for information about the price, the bedrooms and baths, the square footage. Yes, they're definitely looking at pictures of the property. And then here's the thing: when they're ready to make a buying or selling decision, they have to work with an agent. Why? Because that's how Zillow works. Zillow creates the digital handshake. So here's what I want to point out to you. If in fact you were the buyer considering looking at this house, and you decided you were going to contact one of these agents, it says right here, contact a buyer's agent. Okay, now I'm ready to check out, just like at the grocery store. You're ready to check out. You've been here long enough. You've looked at enough information. Now you need to contact somebody. Be honest with me. Would you contact this legacy team? And nothing against any of these. I'm just asking you honestly. You've got Exit Legacy Team. You've got Carol Hess. And you've got Ellie McIntyre. Now, here's my thinking, and I'm just going to share this very open and honestly and transparently. I like the fact that there's a team here. I like that there's a phone number. I like that this lady is front and center and looks professional, and she's a premier agent. That must mean something. But look at this. This lady's got all these green stars. Now, in my opinion, if I see somebody who has no stars versus somebody who has some stars, I'm going to lean towards the one with some stars. In fact, statistically proven on Zillow, these agents like Ellie that have 5 or more reviews on their profile will get twice as many contacts as the agents that have no reviews. Let me say that again. 5 times or 5 reviews on your profile contact information. This is the contact info here under the buyer's agent list. Agents that have 5 or more of these reviews are getting twice as many contacts than the agents that have no reviews. Now, here's another thing I want to point out. Just like the restaurant that had 685 reviews, yes, I would go read some of them. Would I read all of them? No. Here's what happens in real estate. When I look at a person that has 5 reviews, I'll go read them. When I have a look at a person that has 109, subliminally, folks, that starts to turn into a thing called transactions in the back of my mind. Look at it like a heart surgeon. If you found a heart surgeon that had no surgeries, here's another one with no surgeries, and here's one that has 109 surgeries, which one would you lean toward to have represent your heart in a surgery? This is kind of the same analogy, is that somebody who finds an agent on Zillow that's got 109 reviews, I'm probably not even going to read them because that means this lady has worked with 109 clients in this area. I'm just going to pick up the phone and call her, or I'm going to go to her profile. When I get to her profile, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably read a few of these reviews. Why? Because they're the first thing that show up on her profile. Everybody see these? Likely to recommend Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore. Here's Stevensville, Maryland. Here's the review. She was amazing during the home buying process. Selling or buying a home was very daunting. Ellie and her team are the best, so she's got a team. I can learn a lot about this agent, not by her telling me how great she is, but by the people who have worked with her telling me how great she is. Now, let me ask you this. Would you rather stand up in front of a crowd and tell everybody how wonderful you are? Or would you rather have your clients stand up on a stage and tell everybody in the audience how wonderful you are? Obviously, we all would pick the latter, and this is how it works. So while consumers are going to come in here and share their experience, whether you want them to or not, they can find you in the directory. But what I want to cover next is, how do you get these reviews? What do you do when you get a good review? What do you do when you get a bad review? And how do you use this to grow your business? Well, number one, I'm going to tell you this. When somebody takes the time to write a review and says, Ellie has done an outstanding job on multiple properties for us. She has limitless energy and a very creative thought process. You can trust her with your property. This is a person who obviously had Ellie list their home, and she did a great job at helping them sell their property. Now, the one thing I will tell you that Ellie's missing here is a response. Folks, you should respond to every single review you ever get on our site. Why? Because the person who writes the review, it's nice for you to thank them. But by the same token, the person you're trying to reach is not the person who wrote the review. It's the person who's now reading the review. It's the potential prospect. It's the person that's interviewing you and you don't even know it. So what I would do is I would come on here and find a review. I would reply to all of them and say, number one, thank you so much, Jay Quinn, for taking time to write this review. It means the world to me. By the way, I'm glad that those sleepless nights and years of training of understanding the process of listing homes has finally paid off, especially in your case. Thank you so much. So she's able to respond to the client, but also to share with the new reader, the new prospect, the target audience, that she's been doing this for years and has spent sleepless nights learning. Same thing here. When a client writes something that you can capitalize on, Ellie was amazing during the home buying process. She is full of energy and gives her honest opinion on the properties. I truly feel that Ellie was a perfect fit for I would recommend her. So honesty is the best policy. We've all heard, the truth will set you free and all these cliche terms. The point is, Ellie should come and say, Jess and Corey, thank you so much for taking time to write this review. I have found that by being transparent and honest with my clients, it always works best and is a win-win for us both. So she's affirming that she's an honest person. Folks, I could go on all day about how to respond to these. The point is, if you're not responding to them, you're not letting the dialogue or the chat or the thread be known to the person who's reading. So there's a perfect opportunity for you to respond to these reviews and use it as a subliminal. And please keep it subliminal and very subtle. Don't just come on, yeah, I'm the best. That's screw the rest. That's why you use me. And I've seen people make the mistake of being a little bit too brash, a little bit too bold. Just keep it really subtle. Thank them, number one, and then use it as an opportunity to capitalize on whatever they have patted you on the back about. Very daunting prospect. Yes, it is daunting, but I commit all of my time to each and every client. There's a lot of things you can say to respond, folks, that will really have an impact on the results you're going to get from these reviews. Trust me. Okay, so Holly is asking a question. I'm going to take questions in a little bit, but let me answer Holly's. What button do you use to respond to her review? There is a reply, and if you go into, let's go into my sample. I've got a demo one that I use here. Where's mine? Did I set mine up? Well, we'll have to go into my hub. I'll pull one up here for you, Holly, in just a second. I do want to point out you can reply to these responses on the back end. They're not going to be on the front end where you can see them. But here's what I do want to point out. If people come to the real estate directory at the top of every page on Zillow, and there's bazillions of pages on Zillow, there's 108 plus million homes. So even every page there, they're going to have this directory. If you go right now and click on Zillow.com and just click on the professionals directory, this is what you'll end up with. And people can sort by all these different things. So you're going to see that Ellie is number 3 on the entire Zillow site with 109 reviews. Brian's got 113, and Michael Edgar has 135 reviews. Now, not everybody's sorting the directory by reviews, but people can find you, Holly, by searching the directory and clicking on your name. Once they find you in the directory, and there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of agents in here, all they have to do is click on this link right here, write a review. So that's how consumers are finding agents on Zillow and finding our mortgage brokers and lenders and bankers and writing these reviews, is they do a search in the directory for your name, and then they click on write a review. Now I'm going to show you how to solicit these reviews, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and go into my profile or my agent hub and show you where you can reply to these reviews, because it is so important, in my opinion, that the consumer who you're targeting can see your thread of conversation and see how you respond to these types of people. So if I go in, let me go into my profile and let's see if I can find their reviews. Okay, this is mine. So under your profile on Zillow, as long as you're logged in, remember you're in the private view, not the public view. If you want to see the public view, you would click here, Holly. But in the private view, you're going to have a link right here. It says reviews. Just click on that, and however many reviews you have. And right here, I've already replied. So you're going to have a link that will say respond or reply or something. Now you can only reply and respond once. So right now you'll see my response. The only option I have is to delete it or edit it or share it on Facebook or share it on Twitter. Now, this is obviously a sample review, but I'm going to reaffirm what I was telling you. This is an example of what a review will look like on your profile. Down here where you respond, and there will be a reply or a respond link there for you, Holly, this is where you can thank the client for their review and also use this area as an opportunity to share with other readers more of your wisdom, knowledge, experience, and expertise. So remember, these are showing up, folks, right front and center on your Zillow profile. How do you get these reviews? Real simple. It's right here. As long as you're logged into Zillow and you're on the agent hub where you have this column with all these links of everything you can do on the site, which I recommend you maximize each of these items. That's a webinar for a different day. Right here is the link, request a review. Now there's 3 things you can do. One, you can click on a request a review. And when the screen comes up, I'll show you all 3 ways. You could just put in a person's first name, last name, their email address, write them a little personal note, and send it to them. Real simple. You can pick the service that you provided. You can pick the year you provided it. You can put the address of the property, and then you can click send request. Now, if you've sold 450 homes in the last 10 years, I wouldn't recommend going that route. This would be a one-by-one process where you could send requests and you could track those requests. There are 2 other ways you could do it, and these are the 2 that I would recommend. And there's some people who I can give examples. Elizabeth Weintraub is one who sent out 20. All she did is she went here and said send multiple requests at once. So from this link, you're just going to enter in the email address of the person you want to send it to, put a comma, add the second one, put a comma, add a third one, put a comma. She entered, I think, 20 different clients she'd worked with. And down here in the message, here's what she said. Hello. In the year 2011, you and I worked together either on a purchase or the sale of your home. It would mean the world to me if you would click below and take a moment to write a review on how I did. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Weintraub. She didn't bribe them. She didn't coerce them. She didn't. Now, some people will say, if you take the time to do this, I'll send you a $5 gift card for Starbucks or Pete's Coffee or whatever. You could do that as well. Be creative. People who have bought a home from you or worked with you, and they don't even have to have purchased a home. They could have just driven around the neighborhood, looked at 6 properties, decided they didn't want to buy a house or now wasn't the right time. They still worked with you. They can still write a review. Every review, folks, goes through a moderation process through live human moderators at Zillow. So don't worry, nothing's going to get through that's not legitimate. It's not real. Nobody's going to write something that's bad and it's going to get posted on your profile. They have to meet the guideline reviews and terms of service. But here's where you can send multiple emails out to multiple people you've worked with in your real estate business. And will they all respond? Maybe, maybe not. She sent out 20. She got back 21. The 21st response was somebody who actually searched the directory, found her, and wrote that review. Now, the third way you can do this is if you have your own email and you want to send it out. Here's a link that says send the link, or the client, I'm sorry, a direct link to your review form. So this direct link, if you click on that link there, will give you this URL. You can use this custom URL, which takes them right to your profile, right to the blank form, or they can write a review. So for example, let's pull up this person here. If I go to Ellie again, if I wanted to write their review, the link I just shared with you that will be custom, that goes only to your profile, you could actually click right. It'll bring them right to this page. Now, I'm a Zillow employee, so I can't actually write a review, but I'll pull up the page so you can see what the consumer sees and see, oh, I'm logged on as a real estate professional, and real estate professionals cannot rate other real estate professionals. These are consumer generated reviews only. So again, requesting multiple reviews, you could just send this custom URL. It would go just to your profile. Now, those people who write a review, folks, on Zillow, it's like every other site I shared with you: Yelp, Priceline, Google, Rotten Tomatoes, all those sites. You can't rate any of that stuff, any business, person, place, or thing, without having a profile on that site. You can't just go to Yelp and rate somebody. You've got to create a profile on Yelp first. Zillow is no different. So remind your clients that if they try to write a review and you're not getting them, they might not have created, or they might not already have an existing profile on Zillow. You will have to have a profile. Now, we have found that this is such a powerful tool. I'm going to share with you some samples, but you can go in and read, just go to your zip code and pull up the agents in your area and read some of the reviews of the people you're competing with. Or you can come in and search Zillow by the total of reviews, read some of the reviews people are getting, read how they're responding. Please take a moment to respond to them. I think it's very powerful. But also, do some searches and see how those reviews would affect you. If you were going to buy a home, play consumer for a few minutes. Go on Zillow, read some of the reviews. See what happens when an agent shows up that has 50 reviews or 5 or 7 reviews and the other agent has none. Seriously, which one would you contact? Would you read those reviews, and would it affect your buying or selling decision to work with that agent or not? I know it does. I'll show you some proof in a moment. A couple of people asking about what are the guidelines. We do have an FAQ here under the Zillow FAQs. These are the review guidelines. So feel free to take a look at these. We have, like I said, a full moderation team. Folks, this has been serious. It's been viewed 43,948 times, this specific page. So make sure you take a moment to do your research, but more importantly, make sure you take a moment to ask your past clients. Please take a second. Please take a moment to just let me know how I did. Your opinion matters to me, and it matters to others. The other thing about this rating and review process, folks, is I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I believe it's raised the bar for the standard of service. I don't believe customer service is important anymore. I believe customer service is just expected in the world we live in with the online social media and crowdsourcing and reviews. I think today the most important thing of all is the customer experience, because the customer experience is going to be what? is the thing they're going to share with everybody they know, whether you like it or not. No longer does what happens in Vegas stay in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays on YouTube and Flickr and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. So focus on that customer experience. We think it's raised the bar because now knowing that people can write a review about you, whether it's on Zillow or anywhere, I don't care what site people are writing reviews, restaurant owners got to treat their people right. The consumer experience at the restaurant, at the hotel, they have to have a good experience because they're going to go online and rate and review, and other people are going to make decisions based on what they have to say with that customer experience. It's a full circle, folks, and I know you get all of this, so I want to go into some other samples. This was such a popular topic because some people said, well, it's one thing to rate a plate of food, it's another thing to rate a room, but to rate a person, nobody's done that. Well, Zillow kind of put our neck out there and said, you know what? It's one of the most important buying decisions a human being ever makes in their lifetime. It's also one of the most emotional. There's only 5 really emotional, memorable times in a life, and that's 16, getting your license. That's 18, or whenever you graduate from high school. That's number 3, getting married. Number 4, buying a house. And number 5, having a baby. So these are important times, and I really think that having the ability, and Zillow taking the chance and a risk to say, hey, we're going to start letting consumers rate the experience they have with agents. While some were against it, and I have a feeling that those that were against it maybe didn't provide the best service, maybe they don't answer their phones, maybe they don't return calls, maybe they're just in it for the quick buck. I don't know. It's hard to say, but the reality is over 170,000 consumers have taken time and said, hey, we'd love to share our experience on Zillow. The California Association of Realtors liked what we had done so much in 2011. They started a pilot program for their own website. And you know how that works. CAR usually starts at the California Association and spreads to NAR and throughout the country. Let me show you what some people did. This is a gentleman you all know as the Phoenix Real Estate Guy. Phoenix Real Estate Guy is also Jay Thompson, not in disguise. And Jay Thompson is now with Zillow. But he still has Thompson's Realty, and Thompson's Realty, he thought that this was so valuable as a broker and as an agent in 2011 that he created an entire website called ReviewOurAgents.com, where you could go in and use Yelp and Google and Zillow and Yahoo and Angie's List and City Search to rate what? His agents. We value and want your feedback. Folks, this is huge. Here's a guy that put his neck out there, just like Zillow did, to offer the reviews, and said, you know what? I want you to tell me how my agents and my company are doing. And I want you to do it all over the web where everybody goes to read what's happening. That, number one, takes a lot of confidence in what you're going to do with your company. It takes a secondary confidence in the people who work for your company, that you can trust that they're out there as a good representation for your brand. This was huge. Another one, let me show you this. This is great. I'm going to see if you can see this. Now, do these work, folks? Let me just pull this up. This is a screen capture I found on a guy's review. Really cool. The summary was, and Holly, type yes if you can see this little review. I'm wiggling around in the center of the screen. I want to make sure you can actually see this because I'm dragging and dropping stuff on here. So Holly Dayton, if yes, and Adam says, yeah, okay, great. So here, listen to what this person wrote. My wife found Michael online through this very website. There it is. We read the reviews from previous clients, and that is why we decided to work with him. I am happy to say all the reviews were accurate. You get what you get. He did a great job. Folks, that's just one. I'm not going to take an entire hour of a webinar to show you all the proof that I have that I know these work. You know they work. Here's an actual review on one of our agents. And when I saw this, I was like, I've got to show that at our ratings and review webinar. Another one I got while I was doing this webinar, this is kind of funny, but I'll pull this one up real quick. This was back when I did my first webinar on May 18th of 2011. Excuse me. And while I was on the webinar, Chris Spiker, who's a premier agent on Zillow, said, I just, while we're on this webinar, got this lead that came in. And I was blown away because we were talking about reviews and leads that come or contact that come through Zillow. It says, hi Peggy Lynn, my husband and I are currently looking for a home in Rockville, MD. We are looking for a real estate agent to assist us with the search. We have already received a pre-approval letter and would like to find a home sooner rather than later. Watch this. You have excellent reviews, and we would love to talk to you about helping us if you're up for it. Thanks. Looking forward to hearing from you. Well, needless to say, of course, he's going to contact that person back immediately. I think he may have even left our webinar to go talk to them. But the point is, they read the reviews and made the decision to work with him based on those reviews. Now, did that person work with Chris Spiker? Absolutely did. In fact, watch this. Lucky Riani actually turned around, worked with them, bought and closed the deal. And this is what they had to say. Came back and wrote a review. Chris was great to work with. His wife, Peggy Lynn, showed us all the homes during the beginning of the home buying process, but Chris made an appearance about halfway through and was so helpful. He was very easy to get along with. He's very funny. We were so happy to have two people helping us out while we were buying our first home because we really got the attention we needed. We saw tons of houses, usually more than once, and Chris was always willing to come check them out with us again and give us great advice on choosing our home. So this is the review somebody wrote after reading a review and choosing to work with this person. So Chris got really smart, and I like this idea, and I'm going to share this with you because I think you should do this. Chris went onto their website and said, hey, these people are sharing reviews, but what if they don't go to Zillow to see it? Folks, check this out. This is so cool. You don't have to go to Zillow to see the review. You can take these reviews and you can put them on your website. You can put them on your blogs. You can put them on, they come in a widget. They come in a Facebook business page. You can add them to your site. They went and created an entire page. Look at this: home reviews, promise, selling your home, communities. They put this as the second most important thing on their website. And here they are. There's Peggy Lynn, there's Gary, and there's Chris. So they've committed their reviews to showing up on their actual website. If you want to see this, just go to spikerteam.com, spicherteam.com/reviews, or from their homepage. If you just go to spikerteam.com, you can just click on the real reviews right here. They got a great little website. I love what they're doing. But the fact that they're able to take what other people are saying and show that off instead of them trying to sell themselves, they're letting the clients that have worked with them sell themselves. I'm going to go ahead and like his page because I thought I'd done that already, but you bet I like their page. There I am now. I'm a liker. He'll know I was on his site now. So I just want to point out, folks, that you can take these. Let me show you how to do that. A couple of people asking, how would I do that? Watch this. Just go to your profile. And from your profile on Zillow, you can do one of two ways. If you want to add the widget to your website or to your blog, you can do that by just clicking on widgets and Facebook apps right here. I'll wait till you can all see that. On we call it column 1. It's the navigational tools on your profile. Right down here, you've got one that says widgets and Facebook apps. Just click on that and you can now grab any of the widgets for your site. We've got a ratings and review one right here. Just click on widgets for your site. And if you have a blog or you have a web page or you've got multiple blogs and web pages, you can just click on widgets for your site and go grab this one. It's right here. It's the hottest one, reviews widget. And what that lets you do is pick the top 3 responses or reviews that you've received on your profile and share them outside of Zillow. You don't have to be on Zillow to actually read those reviews. Now, if you want the Facebook ones, just click on Facebook apps. You're going to find these reviews tab. Now, these only work on Facebook business pages. They won't work on your Facebook profile. But if you have a business page, and I recommend you all do on Facebook, you can add this tab by simply clicking on add this tab, and then you can add these reviews. They'll now show up on your Facebook business page. So add the widgets, definitely add them on your Facebook pages. You want people to read these reviews because you want them to end up back on your profile and obviously click on your name so they'll be working with you in buying or selling real estate. Now, what happens if somebody says you get a bad review? And I don't mean a bad review. I just mean you get less than desirable. So a couple of examples I'm going to share with you. Here's a gal on Active Rain. She sent this into the membership there. It was a members only post. So if you're not a member on Active Rain, you wouldn't be able to see it. But this is Christine Smith out of Massachusetts. She wrote a Zillow reviews. What would you do? She got this review from this person. And the long story short is she wanted it taken down. It was a legitimate review. So a few people came on and said, that sucks that somebody would do that. She's like, I know. Then somebody here, this person, Liz and Bill said, hey, reach out to Brad, get his recommendation. So I got wind of this because I saw my name. And so here's what I told her. The first step is if you have any issues with the review, you can flag them. It'll get remoderated. If that review gets remoderated and stays legit, then here's what I would do. And I said this to her, and she did exactly this. I suggest taking the high road, comment back in a very professional manner, and turn it around. Don't make excuses. Don't get defensive. Always take the high road. The customer's always right, even when they're wrong, and take the high road. It may not turn around that specific client or that situation, but folks, the person who are reading how you respond will absolutely have an impact on them emotionally and decisionally, as if they're going to want to work with you. See, it's the person that's reading that review and then read your response that's going to be making the decision to work with you in the future anyway. So don't get caught up in a review where somebody says, well, you didn't return my calls and you didn't show up for the open house and I would never refer you to anyone. You suck. Don't get into, well, if you would have, don't do that. Just, and let me give you a true real life example. This happened to a person. Okay. They said those exact words. This guy, he didn't return my calls. He didn't show up for the open house. I'm giving him a 1 star and I wouldn't refer him to anybody. He wasn't mean. He was just honest. So the agent contacted us and he said, you know what? This is absolutely true, but I don't want this on my profile. And so we asked him, what do you mean it's true? What do you mean? You didn't return his calls? I mean, that's kind of poor service. And you didn't show up for the open house. I mean, that, you deserve 1 star. And he said, the reality is I was in the hospital. I had a heart attack. I was in a coma. Oh my gosh, folks. So here's what we recommended. He did this and now he gets a ton of business just from his response. He went back to that profile. He talked to that person and said this, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you are absolutely correct. And anything I say would just be an excuse. The truth is I didn't return the calls. I didn't show up for the open house. And I feel so badly that I had a heart attack. I was in a coma at the local general medical center and unable to even let my family know what had happened. Please, big capital letters, please accept my most sincere apology and let me know what I can do, if anything, to make it up to you. I am so sorry, period. Folks, think about that. Here's a guy who was honest, transparent, admitted guilt, didn't make excuses, said, I am so sorry. If you read that, what would you think? Let me tell you something. That person has already, last I heard, had gotten 5 new clients because he was what? He was real. He was transparent. He was honest. He didn't get defensive. He didn't make excuses. He told the truth and said, look, I am so sorry. I had a heart attack. It was out of my control. What can I possibly do? That is huge, folks. Here, Christine did the same thing. Thanks for the laugh. Actually, many people enjoy sticking to lawyers. Brad, thanks so much for the suggestion. I'm I'm going to contact you. I'm not sure why I didn't think of that myself. I was ticked off at the review. I guess it came off to my family for support. Thanks for forwarding this to your moderation department. And you're right. I was more concerned about the readers than the person who actually wrote the review. Then she goes on to actually write a review and says, here's what I wrote. Dave, thank you for the review. Thanks for tearing me a new one. But the point is, folks, you can turn around a less than desirable review. So I asked her, can I share this? I do webinars on ratings and reviews, and I'm just being transparent with you folks on the call right now or listening to this webinar or podcast. And she says, yes, Brad, go ahead and share this. Thanks so much. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I wanted to point that out to you, because I will get calls from time to time from people saying, how do you handle a bad review? Here's another one. I got this review and I called this person. I talked to Michael. This is the guy I was telling you about that got the great review. Saw your reviews. Remember him? That was this guy. So here's the guy that has a great review, and on his profile, folks, is this review. No, this isn't. This is the guy that has 190. So it's one and the same, but this was the 1 star. And when I saw will never recommend, I went out with Michael Edgar based on reviews and was greatly disappointed. So he goes on to tell about what happened when my contract expired. He never notified me, but rather left me out when I saw my house had been pulled from a website. Not sure his lack of it, blah, 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 blah. Here's what Michael did. Comes in and responds with, I am very sorry to hear that you were unsatisfied. Your property presented a lot. So he's being very factual here. Presented a lot of challenges because you owed more than it was worth. Hello, folks. Anybody hear that before? Not that it's funny, but seriously, how many people's homes we owe more than they're worth? You did not want to short sell your property as you were not behind on payments. You expressed that you were not in a hurry to sell your property and that you did not lock. See, now to me, this is a little bit more like putting it back on the person. I would have handled this a little differently, but you can see he's direct, he's professional. I listed the property for sale as you requested for about $20,000 more than the home was worth. I even offered the majority of my commission to any buyer's agent in an effort to drive more traffic on your behalf. See what he's doing, folks? He's trying to sell the reader that I will work with you and I will do all kinds of things. I pride myself on really trying to help my clients sell their properties. But in this situation, there was just nothing more I could do. I am so sorry you did not get the outcome you were looking for. I'm afraid you won't get the outcome you are looking for several years until the market rebounds. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Folks, I think that's very professional. So professional, I'm using it for a sample to show how I would probably handle. I have a little bit different wording and a little less poignant on each issue, but definitely a great way, good response to a bad review. So have you ever had anybody say anything bad about you? Have you ever had anybody talk badly about you? Well, the chances are you would never know about it because it would happen in a circle where you weren't there. Now with ratings and reviews, people are saying all kinds of things about all kinds of people. It's important that you monitor and watch your reputation and your brand. Now, there is an article I just put up. I want to share this with you. It's over on the Zillow blog. You'll also find this on your agent hub. And what I look at these reviews is a simple tool to do one thing: prove your reputation and prove your brand. Here's an article that just went up, looks like today. Ratings and reviews making the difference for lenders. I'm talking about more the real estate community, but there's another one I wrote down here. I maybe have scrolled off the page by now. I'm going to have to put up another blog post here. Yeah, they've run me off the page. So let's go to older posts. I just want to point this out. This is a chance for you to prove your reputation. Zillow winners. Let's just click on my name, and then you can find all my articles on the Zillow blog. Right here, prove your track record to prospects. So I'm going to pull this up because I want you to read this. I want you to think about this. And then again, I used Michael's review here. I've also got a video from good old Tom Ferry that's going to give you some great tips. So take a look at this article, or you can just Google "prove your track record to prospects." So here's the point I want to make. You're out there making your prospecting calls, you're scheduling appointments, you're working hard to get listings and homes. What differentiates you from other agents? Folks, it is your reputation. Your track record does matter. Why do people trust the opinions of those they don't know or will never meet? Buying decisions are made every single day by consumers that are shopping online. They're reading what the people are doing in this crowdsourcing and data gathering pool that's out on the web. So here's what I'm pointing out is that you do owe it to yourself, just like your clients owe it to you, for your work to pay you a commission, and you owe them the keys to the house. They owe it to you to share that experience. And whether you like it or not, some will, with or without your permission. So request it, be proactive, go get those reviews, get people to share their experience. And then on top of all, and more important than anything else, make sure the customer experience is review worthy. That extra mile, that little extra thing you do to make your clients happy during that customer experience is going to pay itself tenfold when they become a past client and share reviews. Holly, I see you've got your hand up. If you want me to unmute you, I can. Otherwise, you can just click on the hand that will put your hand down, or I'll unmute you and bring you onto the call. Maybe you clicked on the hand to see if it works. And if you leave it up, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on. And so I am unmuting Holly. Holly, can you hear me? I can't. It says you're talking, but I can't hear you. I wonder if it's because I'm on a. Here, let me put on my headphones. Give me just 1 second. This will be because I'm using what we call a studio microphone. So give me just 1 second. I want to see if I can hear you. In the meantime, folks, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. We're going to go to questions. We're going to do some Q&A now. For those of you that got it run, we got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to go to the Q&A. Thanks for joining us here, and we'll see you. Make sure you check the calendar at Zillow Academy for October. We got some great classes coming up. Thanks.